Silence is not weakness. It is not fear. It is not submission. Silence is control. It is the ability to hold back when the world demands a reaction. It is the discipline to observe before speaking, to think before acting, and to understand before judging. Too many people believe that strength is loud power, that power comes from having the last word, from proving a point, from making sure everyone hears your voice. But real strength is not in the noise. It is in the restraint. It is in the ability to stand firm without needing to announce it. Think about the strongest people in history, the ones who truly made an impact. They were not the ones who shouted the loudest. They were the ones who moved with precision. They knew that words hold weight, and so they did not waste them. They did not argue for the sake of arguing. They did not seek validation from the crowd. Instead, they let their actions, their presence, and their discipline speak for them. When you embrace silence, you gain power over yourself. You no longer react out of emotion. You do not let anger or frustration dictate your decisions. You learn to pause, to breathe, to process. And in that space of silence, you find clarity, you find wisdom, you find strength. Silence allows you to listen, not just to others, but to yourself. In the quiet, you hear your own thoughts. You recognize your instincts. You sharpen your focus. While the world is distracted by its own noise, you are steady, you are watching, you are preparing. Silence gives you presence. When you walk into a room, you do not need to announce yourself. People feel your energy. They sense your confidence. Because a person who is truly strong does not need to prove it. They do not need to fill the air with words to justify who they are. They know. And that knowing radiates from them in every step, in every look, in every action. In silence, you become unpredictable. The loudest person in the room gives everything away, their fears, their insecurities, their emotions. But when you are silent, people do not know what you are thinking. They do not know your next move. And that gives you the advantage that makes you powerful. Silence is not about never speaking. It is about knowing when to speak. It is about understanding that your words should be deliberate, purposeful, impactful. It is about using silence as a tool to observe, to learn, to strategize. There is strength in silence because silence is control. It is self-mastery. It is the ability to move with intention, to stay composed under pressure, to command respect without demanding it. Patience is not just waiting, it is waiting with purpose. It is the discipline to trust the process, even when you don't see immediate results. It is the ability to hold your ground when everything inside you wants to rush forward. It is the strength to endure, to believe, and to remain steady when the world tells you to move faster. We live in a time where everything is instant. People want success overnight. They want rewards without work. They want results without effort. But the truth is, anything meaningful, anything lasting, takes time. The greatest things in life do not come to those who rush. They come to those who wait, who prepare, who build their foundation before trying to rise. Patience is a test. It separates those who truly want something from those who only want it when it's easy. Because when things don't happen as quickly as we expect, most people quit, they get frustrated, they start looking for shortcuts. But patience, real patience, is about trusting that the work you are putting in will pay off even if you don't see the rewards right away. Patience is the ability to sit in the silence and keep moving forward. It is knowing that just because something isn't happening now doesn't mean it never will. Some of the greatest successes, the biggest breakthroughs, the most powerful transformations happen in the unseen moments, in the quiet hours when no one is watching, when nothing seems to be changing. But beneath the surface, things are shifting. Doors are being prepared. Opportunities are aligning. When you are patient, you gain power over time. You are no longer controlled by urgency, by desperation, by the fear of missing out. You operate on a different frequency. You move with certainty. You understand that timing is everything, and you refuse to let impatience push you into something you are not ready for. Patience is strength because it takes discipline to wait when everything in you wants to force an outcome. It takes wisdom to know that rushing can destroy what is meant for you. It takes self-control to trust that what is yours will come, not when you want it, but when it is right. Look at nature. A tree does not grow tall in a day. A river does not carve through stone instantly. The strongest, most unshakable things in this world are formed over time, through patience, through persistence. You can't force what isn't meant for you. You can't rush what hasn't been prepared. You can't demand what you haven't earned. True success, true peace, true fulfillment, they don't come from pushing, from chasing, from trying to control every detail. They come when you trust, when you let go of the need to force outcomes and have faith that everything will align as it should. Too often we exhaust ourselves trying to make things happen on our timeline. We chase opportunities that aren't ready. We try to force relationships that aren't meant for us. We stress, we worry, we fight against reality because we think we know best. But faith, real faith, is understanding that if something is truly for you, it won't need to be forced. When you force things, you operate from fear. Fear that it won't happen, fear that you're falling behind, fear that you're missing out. But faith is the opposite of fear. Faith says, I may not see the path right now, but I know it's there. Faith says, I will prepare, I will work, and I will trust that what's meant for me will come in its time. Faith is not about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about doing the work but releasing the desperation. It's about understanding that just because something isn't happening now doesn't mean it never will. It means trusting the process. It means planting the seed, watering it, and allowing it to grow without digging it up every day to check if it's working. Some of the greatest failures come from forcing what wasn't ready. People who rush into success without preparation often crumble under the weight of it. People who force relationships out of loneliness often end up in toxic situations. People who push too hard, too fast, often burn out before they reach their destination. But when you move with faith, you move with wisdom. You don't chase, you attract. You don't beg, you prepare. You don't panic, you trust. Faith is power because it gives you peace. When you stop forcing things, you stop stressing over what you can't control, you stop comparing your journey to others, you stop feeling like you have to prove something to the world. Instead, you stay focused, you stay grounded, and you let life unfold as it's meant to. The right doors will open, the right people will come, the right opportunities will present themselves, not because you forced them, but because you were patient enough, faithful enough, and prepared enough to receive them when the time was right. Life is unpredictable. No matter how much we plan, no matter how much we prepare, there will always be things outside of our control. People will disappoint us. Situations will shift. Obstacles will appear. And if you spend your time trying to control everything, you will exhaust yourself, frustrate yourself, and set yourself up for constant disappointment. No matter what happens, you can always control how hard you work. You can always control your discipline, your consistency, your dedication. No one can take that from you. Control what you can, your attitude. Every situation, good or bad, is shaped by the mindset you bring to it. You can choose to be bitter, or you can choose to learn. You can choose to complain, or you can choose to grow. You can't always change your circumstances, but you can always change how you see them. Control what you can, your response. You will face disrespect. You will face setbacks. You will face moments where life doesn't go your way, but your reaction is your responsibility. Will you lash out? Will you give up? Or will you rise above it? No one can control how you react but you. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you free yourself. You free yourself from stress, from worry, from anxiety over things you were never meant to carry, Instead, you put all that energy into what matters: your growth, your discipline, your mindset. And when you do that, life no longer controls you. You control your own destiny. Timing is everything. But too often, we try to rush it. We want success now. We want answers now. We want the dream, the breakthrough, the opportunity right now. And when it doesn't come as fast as we expect, we start doubting. We start wondering if it will ever happen. We start questioning if we are good enough, if we were on the right path, if we should give up and settle for less. But the truth is, just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean things aren't working in your favor. Growth happens in the unseen. Progress happens in the silence. And when the time is right, everything will come together in ways you never expected. Think about nature. A tree doesn't grow overnight. The strongest structures are built over time. Every season has its purpose. There is a time for planting and a time for harvesting, a time for building and a time for standing strong. If you try to rush a seed before it's ready, it won't survive. If you try to force a fruit to ripen too soon, it will spoil. The same goes for your journey. The right time will come. Not when you want it, but when you are ready for it. You may think you're ready now, but life knows better. Sometimes delays are not punishments. They are preparations. You are being shaped, strengthened, refined, so that when your moment arrives, you won't just receive it, you'll be able to sustain it. Many people fail not because they aren't talented, but because they stepped into something before they were ready. They rushed into success without the foundation to hold it. They pushed into situations they weren't prepared for. But when you trust the timing of your life, when you focus on becoming the kind of person who can handle the blessing when it arrives, you won't just experience success, you will sustain it. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing. It means preparing while you wait. It means sharpening your skills, building your discipline, strengthening your mind. It means being faithful in the small things, knowing that the bigger things are on the way. It means trusting that just because you don't have it now doesn't mean it isn't coming.